Alright, so here's a scenario. Your seventh favorite video game YouTuber is giving out $10 eshop cards. You finally won one. And so you think to yourself, what should I buy? Or let's say you just want to play a new game, but you don't want to spend more than $5. Well, lucky for you, I have a video where we're going to go over 3 new games that are only $4.99. But before we get into that, please hit that like and subscribe button so your seventh favorite video game YouTuber can give out more eShop cards. Let's get into it with the first game though, and it is a game called Escape from the Tower, where you play as a helpless princess who's trapped in a tower with many obstacles, enemies, and a giant fire-breathing dragon, waiting for your Prince Charming to come and save you. Although, he makes his attempt and, well, he doesn't make it. But he does leave you a weapon, so now you can try to get out on your own. You don't need no stinking prince or knight or anyone to save you, you can do it yourself. This is sort of like a retro-inspired Dig Dug kind of game, or if any of you ever played Mr. Driller, this game where you just basically dig down, but you're limited because you're in a tower. There is a ton of enemies and this game is really difficult. And of course this game is a form of a roguelike, so every time you defeat an enemy, you gain some money. In between levels, there will be these little breaks where you can spend your money, sometimes offering some pretty good stuff, giving you an advantage going into the next level. You will also, though, unlock new characters, which do offer maybe a few more skills. For the most part, I found them just to be cosmetic difference, but it was pretty cool nonetheless. I will say though, for me, this game honestly was like too difficult. I got far into it, I suppose, but not without wanting to rip my hair out. It has this fun pick up and play aspect to it, but ultimately, it reminded me of like some of those really old school arcade games where they're just trying to get your quarters. So they're like just needlessly difficult. And granted, the game itself is not that long, so I get why they try to make it that difficult, but ultimately, yeah, there's some balancing that needs to be done before I would recommend picking it up. As it sits right now though, I would probably give it a 5 out of 10. There was definitely a few stutters, the controls are a little bit loose, and there's absolutely no tutorial. But with all of that in mind, as just like a pure retro roguelike type experience, it's okay. It's not bad, especially if you're into that type of game, but for me, I would advise against it. And for the next game, I have a lot kinder words than I had for the previous submission, and this is a game called Utah Games Presents. Now, this is something I just stumbled upon. It's $4.99 and it markets itself as different student-made games. There's 3 official titles and then one game where it's sort of on the main menu. It's sort of like a puzzle type game where you control a ball. You can use gyro control or you can just use button control. And it's funny because this little ball is sort of representing you, and it sits in the main menu, and you can choose one of the 3 games if you go to the left, or if you go to the right, you can go through this little puzzle adventure experience. But the thing I really like about the games is they're all 3 unique and different. Starting off with a game called Urban Nightmares, where it's like a parkour, first-person speed runner, where you're trying to get the fastest time as possible, while also navigating this crazy dystopian environment. If you want to take it down a notch, you can play a game called Cardboard Chronicles, which is included in this pack. This game looks amazing, I just have to say that first. But every character is, well, cut out of cardboard essentially, and they move as such. It is more on the lines of like action than it is turn-based RPG, just for anyone who is thinking Paper Mario. No, not really. As far as combat's concerned, now as far as storytelling, it's really funny. It's got some pretty unique puzzles, and it's just a really charming experience. I really enjoyed this game. As I said before, the environment looks amazing, but it's also really vibrant and just whimsical in a way, and I hate using that word, but really it's just a lot of fun that I would advise anyone to check out, because the experience is worth it. It's on the short side, just like all the other games in this collection, but I really hope that we see more from this class, from this group of creators, because what they're doing is inspiring. It's awesome to see the next generation and what they're making, and just to know that I'll be entertained for the next 20, 30 years, so happy about that. And then finally, the last game in this collection is a game called My Little RPG Shop, which basically is like a simulation style game where you're running an equipment shop, an item shop. You supply the heroes with their most needed resources. And the really unique aspect about this game is it's not just sweeping floors, selling items, stocking shelves. No, in fact, some of the things that you do in this actually determine or influence some very epic battles that happen in that world. It's a really fun experience, a really cool idea, and it's really what I just have to say about this whole collection Utah Games presents. It's only $4.99, and yeah, you could probably beat all the games in about 2 hours or so, but it's really fun. It's so worth it. Honestly, with the price and everything, I would rate it at like a 9 out of 10, which is just crazy, I know, but it's that good. It's short, but there's a lot of quality that went into making this, and the price. It's a perfect price at $4.99. So the final game in my list of $4.99 games is actually on sale for $3.99, so I'm doing a great job of staying on track. And for transparency and appreciation reasons, I do have to thank the publisher for a review code of this game. It is a game called Nocturnal Visitors. This is a very, very crazy game, honestly. In many ways, the game does play like an interactive novel, with at least the first couple chapters being very much just telling you the story and giving you an option here and there, but for the most part, it's setting the environment, and it can be a little complex, so it makes sense why it's so narrative heavy. Also, the word chapter is used very generously, as it really is just like a little bit of dialogue back and forth, and then that consists of a chapter. But essentially, you play as a character named Jamie. You wake up in your house because your dog is barking and will not be quiet, so you go and check out what's going on. When you discover a rotting corpse in your house, freaked out, you run away. And the next thing you notice, you're waking up in a storage room on a different planet, in a different dimension, basically an Earth 2, if you will. Now, you're known as a visitor because you have the ability to travel back and forth. You're very unique in that manner. You end up joining a group called Seek, and after some time doing some investigation, helping them with their work, you really start to question things. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the weeds with this one because, like I said, most of it is story-based, and so giving too much of the story away would, well, ruin the point of playing the game. I will say there are a few more mechanics to the game other than just reading and making the occasional decision. There is a little bit of puzzle solving going on, and also solving murder cases, which doesn't happen as much as I would like, although if I'm being honest, I was just looking forward to another version of LA Noire. But there is enough to push the story forward and to keep you engaged. The bright spots in this game are definitely the storytelling, the writing. It's very easy to read. You know, some things can just be fact after fact after fact and it gets monotonous and kind of boring. This is definitely not that. And the sound effects and music, I think both of those elements come together to make a really fun experience. On the other hand, the downside, I would say, is the pacing is a little off and sometimes slow, sometimes it seems like they're stretching a little bit. You just want the game to continue. You want to get back in control, so to speak. But also the other thing, and this is a bigger gripe for me, is the visuals. Everything is just really blurry. That whole trope about the Nintendo Switch looking like it's covered in Vaseline is taken to a new level with this, and I would just say, like, I do understand some of the visual choices that they made, but I think they maybe went a little overboard. That's all I'm saying. Ultimately, though, I would give this game a solid 7 out of 10. I do love how unique the story is. So often we get the exact same story over and over. Big bad guy wants to destroy the world, good guy has to come and save it. This is completely different, and I really appreciate that. I also appreciate how easy it is to read in the story in general, and the storytelling, as well as, like I said before, the sound, the music, it's great. And this is definitely one of those games that's worth checking out. Okay, so quick last minute ad, and this is not a $4.99 game, in fact it's quite a bit more expensive. But I kind of tripped on this game, and it's really funny. If any of you also watch Switch Up, Mark from Switch Up was talking about this as well. There is a game called Megaton Musashi W, and the game is $24.99. Typically, it's $49.99. It's just one of those games I happen to have enough gold coins and enough money that I took a flyer on it, and it is really fun. Like, if you have the money for it, or if you're looking for something, it's like an action RPG and mechs, a really awesome story, high quality game. Should definitely check it out. I really enjoyed it. I can't talk about it much more because I haven't had enough experience with it, and the fact that the sale does end on the 11th, so I just wanted to get something out there so any of you guys in the audience can check it out before it's too late. But anyway guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. Let me know what you think about any of these games down in the comment section below, or let me know what games you're playing right now. Anything, everything is so appreciated. I'd love each and every one of you. Take care everyone. Bye bye.